Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast. This is Dan here with Big Cass. It is officially the dog days of summer. I can't do this, brother. Um, I can't. It needs to get here. I'm so bored. I know we got the TBT, the basketball tournament on right now. Shout out Carmen's crew. Big dub tonight over number one Heartfire. I
They in the
know
Elite Eight now.
they are Elite Eight. Heartfire, they did have their top player apparently got ejected, but it's not fair when you have Caleb Wesson and Jared Sullinger on the court at the same time. They get every rebound and like they're nasty. So I'm
I-
psyched, I'm psyched for Carmen.
Imagine getting thrown. Imagine getting thrown out of a basketball tournament game. Like that's wild to get thrown out.
Oh, it is.
That's just so,
And I
like
love I love just the non-Ohio State guys contributing. Jamel Morris, DeSanta Bradford. Like they're just two key guys on this team. They stepped up big tonight. Morris hit, I believe, the game winner. Bradford just doing insane things for Carmen's crew. So it's nice to see basically all the good Ohio State alumni and like all the good Ohio State basketball alumni, and then like some of the guys Holtman had like actually making a run. So it brings a smile on my face.
yeah, it's like the Holtman guys living up to their potential that they didn't get to live up to because of bad coaching
In COVID,
and COVID.
Caleb Wesson's year, his last year, I'm blaming that on COVID. But um, enough of basketball. We're much closer to football season.
Yeah,
We are 38 days away right now, about to be 37 probably by the time you're watching it or listening to it. Happy Jaden Fielding Day, everybody. And it was media day today in the Big Ten. So that's how you know we're close.
yeah. Yesterday, Ohio State spoke. So we were going to do our playoff predictions this week. However, El Presidente Blake Biscardi, his annual article comes out next week, so he will be on to discuss his article. So we decided to put our playoff predictions on hold to reveal them with Blake. It only makes sense to do it that way. And
Mhm.
then we got a huge slate from yesterday's reactions of media day. Um, but before we get into the Ohio State, did you see DeShaun Foster, the head coach of UCLA?
Yes, I did. And I just want to, before we even talk about that, I just want to say you and everyone in Silver Bulletin gave me a heart attack today because I'm at work, I'm in a meeting, important meeting, and business meeting, businessman. And I'm in this meeting, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up, and I see like Blake says something like, "Oh, this is not good. This is terrible," or something he says, and then you text me saying, "This is really bad," and I'm thinking like Caleb Downs tore his ACL. Like Ryan Day got popped by the 5-0. Something crazy happened. And then I turned on the video. I was like, oh, thank God it's UCLA. Okay. I'm like, all right, this is great. I thought it was funny. I don't think DeShaun Foster might be the best public speaker. He seemed a little kind of out there. What were your thoughts? Because I feel like you have more thoughts on this. You guys just more or less, you guys gave me just a heart attack. I just want to say.
I I stopped watching it within the 30 seconds. I was like, this is bad. Like it's really bad. And if you haven't watched it, go and look it up. Deshaun Watson, Big Ten Media Days. But what kills me is the guys, and this might show my age compared to the rest of the guys, besides you and Blake, maybe, to the rest of the guys in Slack, because they're like, well, he's never spoke to that many people before. And I'm like, dude was literally a key player for the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl. Like,
Deshaun Foster literally had, I think it was 2006 or 2007. He set the Panthers franchise record against the Giants, rushing in a playoff game. And and then, like the week later, I think he broke his leg. I think it was the Seahawks. He
but
broke.
like he was a key contributor in 2003 for the Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl. Like he saw more media than this, so I don't understand where they were coming. But again, that shows my age compared to some of the other guys in Slack. Nothing against them, but it's like, okay, guys, don't say he's never seen this many people in media without doing a little research. But it's all good. It was all fun, but man, it was bad. That was bad.
It was bad. At least he didn't lie. I'll give him that. Some coaches get up there, they lie, and then the media kind of turns on him. If you're just, I'm okay with you being awkward. Not everyone's a great public speaker. We gotta respect that. It's fine. It's also not my program, so do you.
And I'm going to be interested. I don't think USC was today. They might be tomorrow. I'll have to look. Tomorrow is the real interesting day for me to look because I think, like I said, USC and of course Sharon Moore speaks tomorrow as well. But today didn't really interest me. Yesterday, obviously, the Buckeyes being on there interested me. Today didn't really interest me. They had James Franklin was on there, and you brought up the point about they'd be dumb about not doing a second whiteout.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, because someone, I believe, was it Tom Orr who asked? I think it was Tom Orr's video.
yeah,
Uh, he asked just like, "Oh, hey, would you guys, if you Penn State hosts a playoff game with the new 12-team playoff, would you guys consider doing a whiteout?" And he seemed kind of apprehensive. He's like, "Oh, well, we could do the stripe out. I think we want to keep the whiteout special." And I think that's the dumbest idea. Like, if you guys got a playoff game, you guys have earned that second whiteout. I think it's absolutely the smart thing to do.
just picture like if you're Penn State and you get the first round bye and you have a chance to play Notre Dame, Alabama, uh, just throw Georgia maybe, Ole Miss, Missouri. Why wouldn't you want to do a whiteout? I
I
mean,
would. I mean,
even if it's not an 8 o'clock kickoff.
the fans this is too where the fan base should go rogue. Don't listen to James Franklin on this. Just do the whiteout. Don't listen to what they say. Don't do the stripe out. Just everyone just wear white. I'm telling you, it will just do it. Just do it,
The,
guys.
the only thing that James Franklin said today that really made sense, and he's like, "Well, we're one of the few programs that if we go 2-10-2, that we're my head is being like he's like people are going after my head basically, and it makes sense. Penn State is one of those programs. There you could tell like when they play Ohio State and Michigan, they haven't beat them in a while, so their fans are uneasy right now. And James Franklin he's won one or two games. He's beat Ohio State one time, and that was almost 10 years. That was 8 years ago. And then like he is right. Like look at Ryan Day. Like for instance, Ryan Day in 2021, we went 10-2, and people were we lost that team up north, and people were even this year, like even with the expanded playoffs, people were saying no matter what Ohio State's record is, Ohio State can go win a national championship this year. But if we lose to Michigan, people want Ryan Day fired. Penn State is in that tier of teams where if you don't win big games, you're you're on the hot seat. And it's not like Kirk Ferentz. Look at Kirk Ferentz. He spoke today. He's walking 8-4 every year, and he's been there since I was in grade school.
He said on the record, "I think our offense has the chance to be good, not great. Just they could be good. If that offense is good, look out." Like I'm just saying, if they can get to like 20 points a game or whatever it is, average. I don't know what they averaged last year. Let's say this average 20, 21, 24 points a game. They're going to win a lot of games with the defense. I'm telling you, they're going to be sneaky. I don't think they will get there, but actually I do think they'll get there because I picked them to win the Big Ten West.
So last year they averaged cumulative stats 2023 full. I'm looking it up right now. I'm at the camper, so everything's kind of loading slowly. And I think they averaged 15.6 points a game last year.
If they can get that to 21, they're gonna be nice. They're gonna be good. And
So
they have the tight end. They have Lachey. I mean, they have.
they averaged 4 yards a pass and 4 yards rushing average. They scored 11 touchdowns this last year, rushing touchdowns, and only 9 passing. They averaged 14.9 points a game total. My goodness.
Yeah, they were pretty dreadful.
That's Iowa's office.
Yeah,
I mean,
if they just improve a little bit, they'll be good. I think they'll be really good.
You have them in the Big Ten championship.
I do. Real quick, with James Franklin, I just want to touch on this. We missed this. He did talk about Julian Fleming a little bit. He said he's thriving at Penn State. This is the exact quote. He said he's a veteran guy that's played in this conference. He knows he knows what it's all about. We've got a ton of history with him, and his family recruited him very heavily out of high school, but he's thriving. He's very comfortable. He's very confident. He really got on campus like most guys should do, kept his mouth shut, worked, earned everybody's respect through that first, and now he's really developing into a leader for us. Receiver has been the big question mark really since last year. I agree with that, Mr. Franklin. We've got a ton of confidence in that room. Those guys have got a huge chip on their shoulder. Back to the question earlier about Julian Fleming and the guys in that room. They've had a great summer, and we've got a ton of confidence in what they're going to do this year. We're going to have to really play well early on, build a ton of confidence, and carry that confidence throughout the rest of the season.
I hope Julian Fleming does well in every game but one, not against the Buckeyes. I have no hate for Julian Fleming. I really do hope he does well. But we've seen it. We've seen 4 years of Julian Fleming. I mean, I think we've seen
Jameson Williams type of situation. Maybe the guy just turns it on. Like maybe he just
turns it
on this year and balls out. And like I agree, Cass. Like I will cheer for him every game. That he's not playing Ohio State. I will absolutely cheer for him. I don't think they play Michigan this year, right? Or no, they do. No, they do. I think it's at home. I lied. But I'll cheer for him. Like I got no problem. It's just I feel like Julian Fleming, he's not explosive. He's just not like I thought he was going to be develop into a much faster, explosive receiver, and he never did. He's a possession guy, but I don't think he has that extra burst.
So Penn State does not play Michigan. They play USC, Ohio State, and in Wisconsin as their 3 Big Ten games.
Did I get a Julian Fleming jersey on DHK? A Penn State one?
You can get an Ohio State one.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of Ohio State media days, I watched a lot of it today and took a lot of notes. I sent those notes over to you. Should we start with Ryan Day or start with the 3 players?
I think we should start with the players and then go into Ryan Day.
Let's start with Denzel Burke. I love the guy. I think he's a great player for us, but I can only listen to him speak for a little bit. Because they asked him about Jeremiah Smith and what he could do at Ohio State, and he said he's excited to see what Jeremiah Smith can do, and because he's a really great player, and he's came in and worked his ass off, as starting off the season, and he's fun to go up against one-on-one. So he's really excited to see what the offense could do with Jeremiah Smith.
I'm excited.
Thoughts on that?
I'm excited to see what we can do with Jeremiah Smith. In NCAA 25, he's filthy. He's so fast. So I
mean, the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So then they asked him about Will Howard, which interesting. They didn't ask him about any other quarterbacks, but they asked him about Will Howard, and he said he's excited to see what Will Howard can do to elevate his game and continue to be a good player and a leader. And they did a follow-up question. He said they asked him what has Will Howard done to elevate his game, and I guess Denzel said him and the receivers have been out backs have been out working daily, working on their skill sets, and he's excited to see what they could do next week in practice. So, I had fortune to meet Will Howard and all three quarterbacks this past weekend.
I forgot about that. Yes. Real quick, how did that go? What were your thoughts?
That was pretty cool. We got there earlier. It was Cardale Jones softball game. Got there early, got front row seats, and just seeing the guys. The foundation and Cardale Jones put it on, and it was a great event. But seeing all three quarterbacks, Lincoln Keenholz, phenomenal athlete, beat the world champion softball home run derby champion. I would say the first he hit 15 home runs in a minute in 60 seconds, hit 12 in 45, and then ended up beating Emeka Egbuka, the defending champion, and then came back and beat the world champion in home run derby, hit 14 home runs in 45 seconds.
He should have been in the home run derby this year. The home run derby this year in Texas was very underwhelming, and I love the home run derby. It was not good. Like, they were not a lot of. I think the most hit this year was, I think, 22 in a round, and it's like 3 minutes plus extra, I think, like 30 seconds or whatever. So he's unreal, bro. The baseball team.
Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. And Will Howard and Kaduba, he's a walk-on wide receiver, lost to C.J. Barnett and Chris Fields in a German spelling bee contest. So Will Howard had to wear the whole German get up for the rest of the game. Will Howard come walking off after he hit a home run in it. Come walking off, and I was like, did you lock in that NIL deal with Schmitz yet? And he's like, well, I hope so. So free sausage for life for Will Howard, please. But let's go back to Denzel Burke here. Because I have, when we talk about Emeka Egbuka, I'll talk what Emeka did at the Cardale Jones thing that I just loved. So they asked him about him personally. He said, all the chips are in. I want to be the best cornerback in the country. He very well could be. I mean, Will Johnson up there, Michigan, might go neck and neck. But I think with Hancock and Igmanosin, Downs, and Lathan Ransom, Denzel Burke has a great shot to winning the Thorpe Award this year.
I mean, I absolutely agree there, and it's because I think the defense is gonna. There's so many. All the corners on this team are pretty locked down. I feel like for the most part, all the DBs, that it's not gonna be like they can just shy away from Burke. They're gonna just have to throw it wherever the read is and just kind of hope that the receiver wins. Because it's not like you can be like, oh, I'll just pick on Iggy, or I'll pick on Jermaine Matthews, or I'll pick on Hancock, because they're all locked down. So it's going to come down to, can Denzel, do his job and get some, make some good breaks on these passes and turn a couple into interceptions. I think it'll come down to two things with him winning the Thorpe. It will be, he's going to need to get at least 4 to 5 interceptions on the year. I think he has to be in that range at least, minimum. And then the defense just has to be elite. It has to be a top 5 defense, but it's totally possible, totally feasible.
But I think he's not going to see a lot of action until maybe the Michigan State game, and then he'll probably he won't see action against Iowa, but then the Oregon game. I think the Oregon game could really solidify if he does really well, and maybe has a pick or two in the Oregon game and play very well against Michigan. That could really be where he can win the Thorpe. Then they asked him, obviously, the expectations of Ohio State. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, you're right, because it's like the teams we play, I feel like don't really air it out that much.
Michigan State, I think, will.
Childs will. I think Nebraska. I think from Michigan State to, let's say, the Penn State game, I feel like that's going to be the stretch he's going to have to be dominant in. Iowa, obviously, I mean, I don't. That's kind of like a bye week for him, but like Oregon, I think Nebraska with Raiola's kind of healthy. He's going to be a problem, dude.
That's
He
good. Raiola is going to get welcome to college football moment. Yeah, I feel like Raiola is going to play very well until he gets to come into the shoe against this defense, and it's going to be a hey, welcome to college football moment for him.
I could see that.
Um, then they talk. They obviously there's going to be a theme here about expectations for this team. He said it's now your bust here. Understand that I ain't come back for no BS. We're here to win it all. I love it. I mean, I love it.
I love it. I just hope if like we lose a game early or something, he's not discouraged. That's the only thing that worries me.
Let's talk about Emeka Egbuka. So at the Cardale Jones thing, Emeka Egbuka was the team captain for the current players. Got a picture with Emeka Egbuka, which was awesome. But Emeka Egbuka spent 40 after he did his warm up hits. He spent 45 minutes taking pictures and signing autographs for kids. I just love that. Me personally, that just warmed my heart. Like, he even signed some kid's dirty Nike that he came off his foot, but like, you know, and all the players end up doing it. But like, seeing Emeka Egbuka just embrace that and take that all in was just phenomenal. So they asked him about that team up north, and he said, "Well, I'm less right now. As I am focused on that game. I am less focused on that team up north until that week comes. Then I'm focused. We're focused on one game at a time." So that's probably one of those quotes that has not really been mentioned anywhere, and I'm surprised Michigan fans and some delusional Ohio State fans didn't get a hold of this quote and just like totally rip Emeka Egbuka off about it. But I like that mentality. Like, yeah, I'm focused on him, but I'm less focused. But I'm less focused on it and more focused on one game at a time.
I feel like that's the correct way to go about it. Because you don't want to look ahead. You don't want like
Right.
when we're playing like Indiana and Purdue. You don't want Northwestern. You don't want to look ahead to Michigan right away. You want to keep them in the back of your mind. You want to know that they're there. You want to obviously be prepared and focused on them when the time comes. But you also have to take care of business. I feel like that's almost like a professional NFL way to approach it. I have no problem with that quote from him. I know that will get twisted somehow. That's just the way it goes this time of the year. But I see nothing wrong with that quote.
Yeah. This is before we get into the video game question. I'll keep going on. He said it means a lot to be now that number one leader of the wide receiver room and be able to help the young guys to make them great. I mean, I love it. He said
Definitely gonna be
we
a
keep.
captain.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think all three of these guys will end up being captains. Maybe not Denzel, but I think the two will. He says we also keep things inside the Woody. We embrace the expectations and just focus on each other. We have to trust the work that we put in. Trust your teammates as they hope to trust me as I'm doing the same, putting in the work. I love that.
I like it.
He is excited to play at Oregon because he is from the upper northeast, northwest
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
country.
JPP.
Yeah, so he is excited to play at Oregon. Family and friends come watch him play. That he hasn't seen, that haven't got a chance to come out and see him play very well. So he's excited to play in the Pacific Northwest. They're looking. He said they're also looking to do something great this year. This is one of the reasons why he came back. Looking to do something great this year and looking to do something special, not only with myself but my teammates as well. And then they asked him, "How excited are you to play in the video game?" And he said, "I'm excited to play as me in the new video game." And that's basically all he said. And they asked him about his rating, and he's like, "I think I'm a 92 or something like that."
He's a dog in the game. He's great at just like catching balls in traffic or like possession catches. I was playing with my Road to Glory guy like 2 nights ago. Game on the line against the team up north. Lobbed one up to Emeka, came down with it, like tested against Will Johnson, no problem.
Going back to the game, we're switch gears to Jack Sawyer. He said the first thing that he looked was his overall rating, and he said, "I believe I'm a 91." So this was interesting about Jack. Jack had a lot to say, and you could tell how personal what he got. So Jack, they asked Jack about his decision to come back. He's like, well, I was the first one to decide to come back. I met with Ryan Day before the Missouri game, decided to come back, created a group chat with the guys. And that's when we had all the discussions about, how we can make this special, how we could come back and do this. Because in his eyes, he said, I feel like I let people down because I felt like I developed late and didn't start playing my best ball until the last 6 games of last season. I feel like I felt like we let Coach Day down. And one of the reasons why I came back and my teammates come back is to finish the job and get one last shot at getting a pair of gold pants.
I love this, like, the self-responsibility, how he kind of puts it on himself. It's not all on Jack Sawyer, but I just like how he has that mentality. He is right. I mean, he definitely came on the last 6 games. I feel like the bowl game in Missouri was his best game.
Yeah.
So if he keeps playing like that, he's gonna win a lot of awards this year.
Yeah, and he also said something about Coach Day. He said, I feel like Coach Day gets unfairly criticized because we are the ones playing and we failed him. But we are here to right the ship, and that's why one of the reasons why we decided to come back.
I love it.
That tells you right there, that is a man that loves his coach. And that goes to the feel of Ryan Day and what type of player Ryan Day is, and how much he means to these guys. So I
think too, it's just the brotherhood. They don't want to let each other down. It's a great mentality to have. They just need to execute it this year. This year, I think they're going to execute it. I think this team will go as far as the leadership takes them.
And he even said that it burns a fire, especially a gut punch in my stomach when we walked into this building and walked by those 3 banners hanging up there with the Team Up North logo. So obviously all 3 of these guys had some sort of similar answers, but brought into a different way. You do see Jack Sawyer putting a lot of responsibility on himself as well. But basically all 3 saying, in some sort of way, this is going to be a special season, and we're going to put in the work to do it.
I like it. And else we have Coach Day. What were your big takeaways from Coach Day?
Well, they asked him. A lot of it was he said focusing on what is now and not the past. Makes sense. However, he has felt like they should have won last year's game. They should have against that team up north. So moving away from a little bit, so Chip is completely in charge of the offense, but he is looking at the big picture in the different situations. So he said whether if it's 3rd down or 1st down, or if we're on the goal line, that's when he's going to be able to view the whole entire field, and the whole situation and put his input. But he said that Chip will use our offense and what fits our guys, meaning he's going to run the offense that strengthens them. So power run, you got 2 of the best running backs in the country. You have Will Howard or Devin Brown. Both of them can run the ball. And I think even in the video game, the RPOs, I think you're going to see a lot of short RPOs and let the wide receivers get out in space. That's just my expectation. That's what I see.
One thing that stood out to me, Cass, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, you're fine.
Day officially announced that TC Caffey's out for the year, knee injury. We knew that for a couple of weeks now. I think we actually posted that on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that he was hurt. So obviously prayers to TC. That sucks. And he went over the receivers. He said Emeka, Carnell, and Jeremiah. Emeka's 1, Carnell's 2, JJ's 3.
Didn't really say it. I mean, but we knew like that's the order.
What intrigued me was the Brandon in his comments. He says they said you feel him on the field, looks to be our number 4, but Ballard, Rogers, and Kojo need to step up. It kind of feels like, hear me out. It feels like they're going to try to get Innis involved more than just receiver. I think he's opening the door for competition for the rest of the group. to kind of play that 4 receiver. It looks like Ennis, though, from my understanding, he's taking reps at running back too. They're going to try to get him.
Jalen Marshall.
I like this because Ennis, he has that burst. We saw him score that touchdown last year, but he's also a tough kid, and like he can't. I'm not gonna say Jalen Marshall. Maybe more like almost like an Evan Spencer. This team, an unsung hero.
Think about this, Dan. This offense could almost remind you a little bit of that 2014 offense.
Yeah,
you got a game manager at quarterback. Could be Will Howard. Will Howard's a game manager. He's a good quarterback. You have, I think Emeka. I think Jeremiah Smith is the best wide receiver in that room. Obviously, he's not the complete developed. So that's Michael Thomas. And then you have Devin Smith, Carnell Tate, Evan Spencer, Emeka Egbuka, because Emeka could play in the slot or anywhere. And then Jalen Marshall and Brandon Ennis. That's where I take it.
Judkins is Zeke, and then Curtis Samuel is Trey, because Trey's like the more explosive. I think. And
then we had an average at best offensive line.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season.
And then speaking of the line, we only got 2 minutes here, but real quick, Carson Hinsman, Tegra, Shabola, and Luke Montgomery. It's a battle for the right guard spot, right guard number 1. And then Day's also impressed with Josh Fryer. He believes that he has elevated his game, and they expect a physical preseason. So I'm feeling good. I know the line might not be the most talented, but they're going to be tried and true in this preseason. And also, we have between Hinsman, Tegra, and Luke, I think we're pretty deep at the guard position, and also Hinsman can obviously play some center. So I feel really strong about the interior line. They're ready to go to war this preseason. I want them to be physical. I'm not rooting for injuries or anything like that, but this team is very deep. If something happened where a guy, God forbid, went down, we could survive. I think being physical is important this preseason.
We were the first to win the 14 playoff. Will we be the first to win the 12-team playoffs?
That is a great question, and I'm gonna say let's pause it for next week because we're gonna have Blake. Blake's gonna come on next week, everybody, with his yearly article. We're gonna do the whole. It's gonna be great. The whole breakdown. So we're going to put a pin in it till then. This has been Big Ten Media Day, brought to you by the Bunch of Nuts podcast. Cass, anything else real quick? We got about 20 seconds.
No, I'm excited. Next practice. I can't wait to go to practice next week. I really can't.
It's going to be awesome. But that's all I got. So thank you so much for listening, and go Bucks.
Go Bucks.